The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. This quote from the psychologist William James is a quiet rebellion against the modern world. We are living in an age of data worship. We are told that the path to better decisions is paved with more information, more metrics, more analytics. We are conditioned to believe that wisdom is found in what we can see, measure, and count. But James suggests something far more difficult. He suggests that true insight doesn't come from accumulating information, but from having the discipline to filter it. That wisdom is often found not in the evidence that is present, but in the significance of the evidence that is absent. I want to take you to a problem from the Second World War. The Allied forces were losing a devastating number of bomber planes on their runs over Europe. The stakes were incredibly high, and a critical question arose: how do we make these planes safer? The obvious answer was to add armor. But armor is heavy, and too much of it would make the planes sluggish and burn too much fuel. The armor had to be placed only where it was most needed. So, the military began a systematic study. When the bombers returned from their missions, the ground crews carefully mapped out the locations of all the bullet holes. After analyzing hundreds of planes, a clear pattern emerged. The wings, the tail gunner's position, and the central fuselage were riddled with holes. The data was unequivocal. The conclusions seemed simple and logical. Reinforce these areas because that's where the planes are being hit most often. This is the point where most of us would stop. The data is clear, the conclusion is obvious. It is the moment of maximum information. But a mathematician named Abraham Wald, who had fled Austria for the United States, was brought in to look at the problem. He was an outsider, a statistician, not a military engineer. And because he was an outsider, he wasn't looking at the problem in the same way. He looked at the same data, the same diagrams of bullet-riddled planes, and he saw something entirely different. He saw what wasn't there. Wald asked a question that was so simple, it was revolutionary. Where are the missing bullet holes? He pointed out that the military had only analyzed the planes that returned. They were running a study on the survivors. The bullet holes on those planes were not a map of the most common points of impact. They were a map of the places where a plane could be hit and still make it home. The truly critical data, Wald argued, was missing. It was on the plains at the bottom of the English Channel and scattered across the fields of France. The places on the returning planes that had no bullet holes, the engines, the cockpit, the core of the tail, were the truly vulnerable spots. A plane hit in those places never returned to be part of the study. The absence of holes was the most important data point of all. The military leadership had the wisdom to listen. They ignored the visible evidence of the bullet-riddled wings and instead reinforced the clean areas, the engines and the cockpit. The survival rate of the bombers increased dramatically. This story is a profound lesson in the art of thinking. We are constantly making decisions based on the survivors. We model our careers on the success stories we read online. We shape our business strategies by analyzing the companies that thrived. We look at the resumes of the people who were hired, not the ones who weren't. Like the World War II engineers, we are meticulously studying the bullet holes of the planes that made it back, and we are drawing logical but completely wrong conclusions. The real challenge is to cultivate the discipline of an Abraham Wald. It is to step back from the overwhelming evidence of what is present and to ask, what am I not seeing? Who is not in this room? What data is missing from this spreadsheet? What is the story that the silence is telling me? Because wisdom is not just about seeing what's in front of you. It's about having the clarity to notice what is absent and understanding that what is not seen is often far more important than what is.